You're useless. There's no point of you living anymore. You see that gun? You see the gun? Take it and shoot yourself. No one will care. No one will ever care about you. No one.
No. I don't want to shoot myself. I don't want to die. But no one cares. No one. As we've seen the previous clip, now I know what most of you are thinking. What does that really mean? Now look, I have just one thing to say. People who are fighting depression watch the world go on and continue to go through the pages of life with a plaster of a smile on their faces, but deep down they know they are hurting as if this is killing them alive. Get it? I'm talking about depression. Depression is a common condition that affects millions of people every year. However, the non-reported cases of depression cannot be estimated. Depression has a huge impact on most aspects in everyday life. It affects eating habits, sleeping routines, self-esteem, and perspective of life, or the point of view of one person towards the world. In addition, depression affects the people who love and care about the person who is depressed. There are several available treatments for depression. I've enclosed the causes, the symptoms, and of course the treatments for depression. Now, as we have established the definition, let's first discuss the causes. Depression is most often caused by a traumatic significant event, illnesses, certain drugs, or medication. Depression can be caused by serious loss, relationship problems, work stress, family crisis, financial problems, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, or any unwelcome life changes. It is not something we are able to see, touch, feel with our bare hands. Worst case scenarios might lead to death, as we've seen. Depression is also caused by abuse. Let me list a few. Physical abuse, sexual harassment, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, the list goes on. You see? Next, let's talk about the signs of depression. Depression, for the minority part, it's a normal thing. They might say it comes and goes, but for the majority part of these cases, they might say depression has stuck to them like glue. It has been a cancer to their lives. Why do they say that? It's actually because they are unable to enjoy their lives as much as they could, and they are unable to get through their daily responsibilities and activities of life. The symptoms of depression are as follows: restlessness, irritability, substantial changes in eating habits like extreme weight gain, extreme weight loss, significant changes in sleep habits, sleep deprivation, or sleeping excessively. And let me be an advocate for the majority part of depression, the majority of cases of depression. We put on a face to hide our true feelings that will cause embarrassment. We hide our feelings because we're afraid that when we let out our depressive states, it causes us to burst out of anger, spilling out to all of you. And we're also afraid of being overly emotional. Now look, this sense of afraid and this sense of fright in them might cause them to isolate themselves from their social lives, isolating them from their family and crying without a reason. Even though it's hard to see, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, let's talk about how can we treat all of these people, all of these depression cases amongst ourselves and of course our society. Now we have encountered the exhibit of the treatment part. In treatments, we have 4 available treatments such as therapy, medication, exercise, and your social life. If there is no underlying medical cause for your symptoms of depression, talk therapy such as counseling can be an extremely effective treatment. What you learn in therapy gives you skills and insight to feel better and help prevent depression from coming back. Some types of therapy teaches you practical techniques on how to reframe negative thinking and employ behavioral skills in combating depression. Depression medication, however, may be the most advertised treatment for depression, but that does not mean it is the most effective. Depression is not just a chemical imbalance in the brain. Medication may help relieve some of the symptoms of moderate and severe depression, but it does not cure the underlying problem, and it is not a long-term solution. Next one will be exercise. As regular exercise can be effective in treating depression compared to medication, not only does exercise boost serotonin, endorphins, dopamine, and oxytocin, along with other hormones, it triggers the growth of new brain cells in connections just like antidepressants do. Exercising daily can help one to amplify their ability to sleep and reactivate their metabolism rate. Plus, it makes you feel good. And the last one will be social support. Strong social networks reduce isolation risks of depression coming back, and of course you have to keep in regular contact with your friends and family, or consider joining a support group. Now, in a nutshell, depression is one of the most common conditions, but it's often unrecognized and untreated. Depression has a high rate of morbidity and immorality when left untreated. People who live with depression and of course tend to include their family and friends have enormous challenges to overcome. Generally, depression does not result from a single event, but from a mix of events and factors. Now, if you are ever feeling down, or if you have ever felt the burden on top of your shoulders, you can now treat it, as we have talked about the causes, the symptoms, and the treatments itself. So right now, if you feel as though your life depends on it, go and get treated for depression. Thank you.